The room was quiet in the way that only small community halls ever are. Not silent, but resting. The kind of quiet where you can hear the soft hum of lights, the scrape of a chair leg, and someone clearing their throat in the back row. It was a talent night in a town most people passed through without stopping. Folding chairs were lined up in careful rows, and a small wooden stage stood at the front, its curtain faded from years of use. People had come for simple reasons. Some wanted to support family, some wanted to laugh, a few hoped to be surprised. No one expected anything big, not tonight. Michael Carter sat in the third row, hands folded, shoulders slightly hunched. He was 34, tall but unsure of what to do with his height, like someone who had grown too fast and never quite caught up. He worked at a local hardware store and lived in the same house he grew up in. His life was steady, predictable, and safe. Music had always been his quiet place. He sang alone in his truck during long drives home. He sang while fixing shelves at work, his voice low so no one would hear. He never thought of himself as brave. Singing was not something he shared. On the stage, a man in a bright white suit adjusted the microphone. His hair was dark and slicked back. His sideburns were sharp. The room stirred with small laughs and whispers. Everyone knew who he was trying to be. "Looks like we got Elvis tonight," someone murmured. The man smiled wide, enjoying the attention. His name was Johnny Rivers, and he had built a small reputation around town as an Elvis impersonator. He sang at birthday parties, small bars, and weddings. People liked him. He was fun, safe fun. Johnny tapped the mic. Thank you very much," he said, copying the famous voice. The crowd chuckled. He launched into a song. It was loud and confident. He moved like Elvis, swung his hips, and pointed at people in the crowd. The performance was good, maybe even great for a place like this. When he finished, applause filled the room. Johnny bowed deeply. Then, instead of leaving the stage, he leaned forward. "Anyone here think they can challenge the king?" he asked, laughing. The room reacted with playful noise. A few people shook their heads. Someone shouted, "No way." Johnny raised his hands, "Come on, just for fun." It was meant as a joke. Everyone understood that. Michael felt something shift in his chest, a small movement, like a door opening just a crack. He didn't stand right away. He stayed seated, staring at the stage. His friend David, sitting beside him, noticed. "Don't even think about it," David whispered, smiling. Michael swallowed. His heart beat faster. The room felt warmer. He thought of all the nights he sang alone. He thought of how tired he was of hiding something that mattered to him. Before he fully decided, he found himself standing. Chairs creaked as people turned to look. A soft wave of surprise moved through the room. Johnny blinked. "Well, all right," he said. "Come on up." Michael walked slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last. He climbed the short steps to the stage. Up close, the lights were bright and warm. The room beyond them blurred into shadow. Johnny handed him the microphone. "Name, Michael," he said quietly. Johnny grinned. "You ready, Michael?" Michael nodded. He wasn't ready, but he was there. A few people laughed softly. Not cruel laughter, curious laughter. The kind that expects a funny moment. Michael took a breath. He looked down at the floor, then closed his eyes. He didn't start right away. The pause stretched. Someone cleared their throat. Then Michael sang. The first note was soft, almost fragile. It floated into the room instead of filling it. People leaned forward without realizing it. The laughter faded. His voice was not loud. It was warm, controlled, honest. Johnny's smile slowly faded. He took a step back. Michael sang a song Elvis made famous, but he didn't copy him. He didn't try to sound like anyone else. He sang it the way it lived inside him. The room changed. It was subtle, like a shift in the air before rain. People stopped whispering. A woman in the front row pressed her hand to her chest. Michael opened his eyes halfway through the song. He saw faces staring back at him, not with amusement, but with focus, with feeling. His voice grew stronger, not louder, just deeper. Years of quiet practice showed in the way he held each note. Johnny stood still, hands clasped in front of him. He wasn't offended. He wasn't angry. He was listening. When the song ended, Michael lowered the microphone. The silence that followed was heavy and full. Then someone stood up. Then another. Applause rose, slow at first, then strong. Michael blinked, stunned. His hands shook. He didn't smile right away. He didn't know how. Johnny stepped forward and took the microphone back. "I think," he said carefully, "the king would have liked that." The crowd laughed again, but it was different now. Warmer, respectful, Michael walked off the stage, legs unsteady. David grabbed his arm. "Where did that come from?" he whispered. Michael shook his head. He didn't have an answer. The rest of the night passed in a blur. People kept glancing at him. A few stopped to say kind things. Michael listened, nodded, and thanked them, still trying to understand what had happened. At home later that night, he sat in his truck in the driveway for a long time. He didn't turn the engine off right away. He just sat breathing, letting the quiet settle back in. Something had changed, not everything, but something important. In the weeks that followed, life returned to its usual shape. Michael went to work. He paid bills. He fixed things around the house, but there was a new feeling under it all. A gentle pressure, reminding him of the stage. One afternoon, Johnny came into the hardware store. He walked straight to the counter. "Michael," he said. Michael looked up, surprised. "Hey." Johnny leaned on the counter. "You ever think about singing more?" Michael shrugged. "Not really." Johnny smiled. "You should." They talked for a while. Johnny told him about open mic nights, about small chances that didn't feel so big. He wasn't pushing, just opening a door. Michael thought about it long after Johnny left. The next open mic night he didn't go. Neither did the next, but the idea stayed. It waited patiently. One evening, months later, Michael found himself standing outside a small cafe. Music drifted through the door. He could turn around. No one knew he was there. He went inside. The stage was smaller than the one at the hall. The crowd was smaller too. When his turn came, his hands shook again. But this time, he recognized the feeling. He sang, not to challenge anyone, not as a joke, just to share something real. People listened. Years later, Michael would still remember that first night, not as the moment he became something new, but as the moment he stopped hiding something old. He never became famous. He didn't want to. He sang at local places, small events, places where faces mattered more than applause. Sometimes Johnny joined him on stage. They laughed about that night, about the joke that wasn't a joke anymore. Michael understood now that courage didn't arrive all at once. It came quietly, in small decisions, in moments when you chose to step forward even while afraid. The challenge to Elvis had shocked everyone. But the real surprise was simpler. A man had listened to his own voice for the first time and decided it was worth hearing.